There it is, the first Stanley Cup since 1961 for the Chicago Blackhawks this past season, and a little time now to develop some players in their organization. The Chicago Blackhawks hoping to add some depth to the organization, and again, they had a little bit of time when you are the defending Stanley Cup champs, although they would like to repeat it, I'm sure, the next season. Here's a look at their draft picks so far during the 2010 NHL entry draft. Led off by Kevin Hayes, 24th overall in the first round, a right winger, and they traded pick number 30 away so they could pick up 2 more picks in the second round, which they used for Rosenfeld and Holl. And we want to take a look right now at young Mr. Hayes, whose brother Jimmy was a draft pick for the Toronto Maple Leafs back in 08. And we've talked about the U.S. development program and how many kids have come along. He played, Bandom and I think midget as well with Bill Arnold and Charlie Coyle. And those 2 names also drafted here this weekend in Los Angeles.
Well, you know, the U.S. Development Team program in Ann Arbor is just but one place for these players. You know, Kevin Hayes played at Nobles Greenough and spent many a time there watching some really good players. But, you know, you look at Kevin Hayes, you look at Charlie Coyle, Connor Brickley, Keith Yandel. They came through some development programs in Massachusetts, the Massachusetts Satellite Training Program, where they trained under some really expert physiologists and people that really know about hockey, namely Bob Richardson. And, you know, when they get this kind of development, it's no different than California. It's no different than Nashville and Blake Jeffrey. It's no different than Texas. You know, when you're getting the proper training and the proper guidance, it's going to benefit you. And certainly Kevin Hayes has developed that kind of regiment in his training and in his approach to playing, and these are the things that really help players.
Well, you know what's really impressive is that he took extra programs to accelerate his high school education so he could join Boston College and play with his brother Jimmy this year. I mean, he may have had to go back to high school. He said, no, I'm going to put in the extra work educationally to make sure I'm ready to go play A hockey, but also get an education in college this year.
Well, you know, one of the big things is that you need discipline on the ice. You also need discipline off the ice. You know, not only in your training, but, you know, in your studies or whatever you're doing, you really got to ensure that those disciplines are in place. And I think when you get those disciplines in place and the young men do that, it helps in every area of their lives. It helps their hockey and it helps their schooling and it helps their nutrition and whatever it is. But, you know, establishing that nutrition, and these young players are doing that a lot better. But again, I can't speak enough about the people that are guiding them. And guiding them, there's a difference between being told you can be guided and actually being guided properly. And Kevin Hayes is a product of being guided properly, as are a number of other players that I just mentioned, as we see a lot of the players. And players that aren't properly guided, you know, tend to have a lot more bumps and bruises along the way, and maybe even don't even reach what their potential may have allowed them to reach.
You know, speaking of Mr. Kavanaugh, are you?
No, it's not just Kavanaugh.
But no, I mean, he wouldn't be the first and he won't be the last either.
Well, but you talk about disciplines, about Kavanaugh. I don't know what his background was. I can only speak to what Kevin Hayes' background is, and Charlie Coyle. And interestingly enough, it was many years ago that I watched some of those kids train, not Kevin Hayes specifically, but some other young players that have developed. Keith Yandel was certainly one of them. And when they're getting that proper guidance and that proper coaching, we talked to Sandy Gasso here earlier, trying to give the California kids the proper guidance. When you get that, it's really a great thing. And one of the things I'll implore to every parent and everybody out there, don't believe everything you read. Most of it, you know, you need to delve into and understand what you're getting into, because there's a lot of people out there that, while they have good intentions, it doesn't mean that they know exactly what they're doing.
A little bit of knowledge can be a dangerous thing at times. Scott Howson busy here at the NHL entry draft with the